Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome back. I need a sip of coffee. How's your week?
Well, made it through Christmas. My
Hmm.
first hurdle, first big hurdle.
Right.
How
That's
was
good.
your week?
Good. We had a great Christmas. It's just very, sweet time with family. Uh, and then just kind of back to the grind. Having a husband who has to work the Saturday kind of makes it stinky because it's like it's supposed to be our weekend, but it's not. We end up only having a 1 day weekend, and it's just never the
Well,
same.
and I think I was thinking about it on Friday is with Christmas falling on a Thursday, just I don't know, my brain naturally goes like, okay, time for a long weekend.
I know. Hmm.
And he had to go back to work Friday and then work Saturday on top of it.
Yeah.
So,
So it's
bummer.
a 3 day weekend. And it's the only we really love his job. We love what he does and we love the way it works with our schedules. But the only sneaky part is the end of the year because it's pretty much always he has to work 2 Saturdays in a row. And so that means
Mm.
2 1 day weekends in a row, and that's just kind of that's lame. So but here we are, back to another chat. So we hope you've got your cup of coffee and you're ready to hang out with
Or
us
tea.
or tea. Um, and if you don't know who we are, we're the Resta Girls. I am Katie, the daughter of the mother daughter duo.
And I'm Patty, the mother of the mother daughter duo.
And this week we're going to continue our conversation from our last episode, talking about really just that winter reset, heading into the new year, goal setting. And so last week we really talked about it was about thinking about, man, I'm saying about a lot. And I'm going to say it more because I've like drawn attention to it.
Uh-huh.
Uh, Thinking about how this year has went, what's worked for you, what hasn't worked for you, maybe what are some goals that you need to let go of, and maybe some that you're ready to pursue and make progress on
Mm-hmm.
in the coming year. So it's all about the thinking and the looking at the calendar and the reflecting. Patty mentioned looking at, she had heard a podcast talk about looking at like your camera roll
Mm-hmm.
from the year, reflecting on what that shows of your life. So this week it's kind of putting feet
Mm-hmm.
to that, putting it into action. So that's kind of what we wanted to dive into this week.
Action plan.
An action plan. Heck yeah. Um, Maybe that's what I'll name the episode. Part two, action plan.
I like it.
But it's just yeah, taking all those ideas and those thoughts and the things that we've considered and heading into the new year with fresh goals. We're not big uh, New Year's resolutions
Mm-hmm.
people, which I think is kind of a growing trend. But we're more finding a word for your year. So for us, we pray a lot and just consider what is the Lord, just what word is He laying on our
Mm-hmm.
hearts for kind of a focus. But it's also about your what do you want to accomplish this year and all
Mm-hmm.
those things that you'd like to see happen or change. And um, this is all about setting in motion. So I think, you know, I tried to quote it last week and I butchered it and I was going to look it up and I didn't. So I'm going to butcher it again. But that um, a goal is just a dream with steps, something like that. So let's take those dreams and put them into motion. And so I think when we're talking about just your goal setting, for example, I really want to speak Spanish. I've been trying to learn a second language for gosh since I was a teenager. So I don't speak Spanish, guys. So clearly, I've not been putting it into motion. I've done some things here and there, and then giving up, and getting busy, and so I started thinking about I really want to speak Spanish this year. It's kind of a really big goal of mine that I'd like to finally see come to fruition. And the biggest thing is I want to be able to communicate with. We have a very strong Latino population, and so I really like to be able to communicate with my neighbors and with other people, maybe through church. Uh, and so for me, I picked a new program to do with my kids called Talkbox that is really about uh, practical every day. And so you're just going to use it talking every day, which I think is what I need. Hang on. We're back. So, It's all about like the daily things you'd use in everyday conversation. So I'm really excited to start that program here this next week with the girls. And I think I'm going to just do check-ins. So I was thinking about, I have some friends who speak Spanish, and probably once a quarter, I'm going to try to have a conversation with them in Spanish. And that's going to be my way of kind of checking in and seeing where I'm at, how I'm progressing, which hopefully should encourage me to keep pushing. So I think, things like that. It's like setting practical steps, breaking it down. How do I progress in this thing? If I want to learn how to crochet, if I want to be healthy, want to learn how to speak a different language, play an instrument, is breaking down to actual like steps. What am I going to do on a daily basis or a weekly basis, a monthly basis? What are my check-ins? To really, otherwise it's just floating there, right? So I think putting steps to your goals.
Well, and I think it's easy to say that, but I think with that, just like with resolutions, right? We lose interest. We because we don't put anything behind it. But even though you say I'm going to do weekly, you got to put that somewhere, like whether you put it as a reminder in your phone and like go ahead, like move ahead with it, or put it on a calendar so that as you're scanning your calendar for things or whatever works for you, maybe you need to put a sticky note on your mirror in your bathroom that says Tuesday I do this, or Friday I do this, or those little things are helpful to again take it out of your mind and
floating in the space. Yeah, I think that on that, you touched on the calendar. Calendars are huge when you're trying to live intentionally. When you're trying to put your focus on the things that matter the most to you, calendars help, because otherwise it's hard to keep track of. I mean, all the things we have and all the things we want to do, but then also all the things thrown at us. And so having even a basic calendar, whether it be a physical calendar that you have put up in your house, or it's a digital calendar, whether it be, on your phone or whatever, having a calendar just helps you to see where you're spending your time. And it's a way for you to check in too. If you can look back at the end of your month, have a check-in with yourself of like, where did I spend all my time this month?
Right.
And what's maybe something that I've committed to that I'm recognizing was a bad decision. So calendars can be immensely helpful.
You just said something that clicked in my brain, but I heard someone I was listening to, I don't know, I can't think of her name right now. Rachel Cruz, no.
Are you talking about Dave Ramsey's daughter?
Yeah.
Rachel Cruz?
That's what I was thinking, but then it didn't sound right.
I'm not sure.
Anyway, she just did a little year end, start the year, and it wasn't just finance. And so I was like, oh, I'll see what she has to say. It's always nice you can't do everything the way everybody says, right? You got to find the system that works for you. But it's always nice to hear, because sometimes
there's nuggets.
There's nuggets. Like, we don't expect you to do exactly what we do, but we hope that you'll find something, Yeah. But one of the things she said was, and it kind of fell in with the Mel's podcast, was to have a no list. It's like her thing was like 5 lists I create for the new year.
Okay.
And one of them was a no list, and that was looking at the things that like didn't work. Like, you have this holiday party that you show up to every year, and every year you hate it. It's like miserable, and then you forget how much you hate it, and then you sign on for next year. And or like you have like she was really talking about the holidays, but something that just didn't work, and put it on a no list, so that and maybe that would be helpful to have a little sticky note that's your no list
that you have with your calendar.
That you have with your calendar, so or whatever that looks like for you.
I mean, maybe it's something like, if you public school your kids and you got, you tried coaching, maybe you tried coaching a team, and you found like you hated that. It didn't work for your schedule, it didn't work for your kids. But like, I'm not going to commit to something like that.
Yeah.
So I think it can be like specific events, it can be specific types of activities.
Well, I think just sometimes the act of, and I know there's some science behind this because but like just the act of like writing something down helps
Mhm.
cement it in your brain, whether you look at that or not. But when we're caught, I mean, I don't know about you, but when I'm caught in the moment, not as much
It's
as I
hard to say no
used to
if you're not
be.
ready for it.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, I could probably do that.
Yeah.
And then you're like, what did I just
Why did I say
do?
yes?
Now I have to either do it or I have the awkward back out.
Right, which is the worst. It's so much better to just say no, friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Um. So, I think you kind of touched on the list. I think that you have something
mhm.
to share this morning that you found to be really helpful, and I agree. I've always rotated through my calendars, so I'm not a use the exact same one. I've tried that. I get bored. The ADD in me gets really bored, and I stop using it. And so I found I have to rotate. Sometimes they're digital, sometimes they're physical. Sometimes we have one posted. And I do think for me this year, because our family is getting old enough that the kids can read the calendar and know what's going on, I want to go back to having one of those big flat
Mhm.
planner pads posted up by our back door. Excuse me, so that
Yeah.
everyone can kind of be on the same page. And on that side, a lot of times they have like a side spot, and so on that side spot, I want to put like kind of our priorities and maybe the word for the year and things like that, just to be that daily
Mhm.
reminder as we walk by. But you found one that's really worked for you.
Yeah. So back when we had our business, we had a business coach for a while, Wendy Batten. Highly recommend
She's
her.
fantastic.
If you do have a small business, especially if it's creative at
A
all.
creative small business, yeah.
But she kept recommending this thing called Planner Pad, and so I went online and I watched all the tutorials on it because I'm like, up front it seemed complex to me. Like this is going to be like this big
Chore.
system that I got to maintain, and I started using it with the business, and like last year, I don't even think I got one in 2024 because I knew we were closing in a few months. So I don't think I bought one that year, but I definitely didn't get one last year. And I just bought like a little simple basic one from the dollar store just so I could keep track of our travels. I don't know, didn't work for me. But this year with adding some new things in, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna move forward with it. But it's so for me, I always like to have the monthly overview. I mean, it's got broad planning for your. Yeah, it's really
It's
washing
hard to
out.
see, yeah.
Um,
It's not great.
broad planning
Goal
for
for
like you can
2026,
just jot
good
things, little things down.
Right.
But then you've
So
got
you kind of see the overview of the year, like when you're taking vacations or whatever.
and then you've got a monthly, and then what happens, because our life is not our life. We have all these like boxes. Everybody's is a little different. You have your family. You might have ministry
Work,
you're involved
ministry.
in. You have a business. I had several components for our
Home.
business. Your home,
Personal goals.
if you do, if you have like a social media presence of any kind. But so you get to fill in at the top your
What
areas of
categories
your
are.
life, what categories. And then with those categories, then you have like your week at a glance. So you've got your week here. And so you can look at, okay, I need to do this for this, and so then you can plug it in to whatever day. And and then you have time too. You have the time slots. So you can be as detailed with how you want to be with it. And you've got room for notes, if you want to just like remind yourself of, goals or things along the side.
I think one thing too I'm liking about that, watching you show it, is like you said, you can be as detailed as you want. Is for me, my day to day, depending on how I'm feeling, I have chronic migraines and just sometimes I'm up all night with the kids, so I don't get up on time. So for me, if I schedule it every day, in the past I've done it with other planners, then like I'm falling behind. I got to move it to a new day.
Right.
So for me, I almost see myself, I would use the top category. And because I like checking things off, I'd probably, after I did it, move it down to the daily so I could check it. Because that's just me. But then I'd also have that like record to be able to look back and see like how each day went and maybe I see a pattern on days of the week where I'm more successful. So I wouldn't necessarily like at the beginning of the week
Right.
go, oh, here's my to-do, I'm going to move it down. It might be a daily thing. Just being
Right.
aware of.
And then there's one other little feature that I didn't really use, but
Mhm.
I think I would now. Is these little, if you can see right up in the corner, I don't know if you can really see it, but there's like a little like dotted line across the corner.
Mhm.
So the idea is, if I remember correctly, if like everything is done on your week, you snip that off. So that way you never have to transfer things. If there's things that you never did, you just leave that, and then it's going to stick up and remind you
There's something there.
there's something there that I didn't do. So you're not necessarily having to, you can move it when you're ready to move it.
Yeah, I wanna try
you know.
that this year.
So it's
Sold.
Yeah.
Where's your link? Where's your referral link?
I know. If only we had one. But if you go on to Planner, I think it's Planner Pad, you get them all through Amazon now. They don't actually
Have
I
like a
don't think
website,
yeah, they have a website,
but not where you can order.
but you can't order it. It moves you to Amazon. But they have like video tutorials and stuff, and like talk you through them. And they have like a smaller one if you're not a big size. They have like a 5x7 one and different styles. But yeah, I like it because I feel like it's got flexibility. We've always joked about me and my notebook, but I feel like I can have it all in one place. And with the business, that was like super essential. So I'm excited to test it out this year, even though this
totally
year looks like a
more personal
blank slate that I don't even begin to know how to fill in yet. But just to see how it works on a more personal level with the different areas of your life.
Check in soon. I'm probably going to end up getting one. And so then we'll have to do a follow-up. How's it going for us with our planner pads? But yeah, I think, having a calendar and really you've got your goals, the things you want to accomplish, your notes basically from the previous year that you boil down into things that I want to do, things I don't want to do, and how do I accomplish that? What are my steps? What are my goals? And I feel like from that, we bounce over to the calendar. And it's about plugging those things in, because if you don't schedule it, it won't happen. That time will be eaten up. We have, Monday nights, we almost always go swimming together, go work out together. Sometimes if we're lucky and we're not too busy, we can go another time during the week. We always do at least Mondays. And I found it was just getting railroaded and knocked off the calendar all the time because it wasn't on the calendar.
Right.
So now it's a weekly appointment. It's on our calendar every week to remind us and to like mark off that spot. So when someone asks us to do something, it's already there. It's already got its place held. I think the same goes for when you're working out, when you're, working on a goal. Go ahead and put it in your calendar and like block that time off. Even if you end up shifting, even if, maybe, you schedule it for, I don't know, say language practice at 2 p.m. every day.
Yeah.
And today I got busy, but I had that reminder. And so maybe I didn't do it at 2 p.m., but maybe at like 7.
Right.
My schedule shifted and I did it later. So it just has it like, it's that daily reminder or that weekly reminder of that thing you're wanting to work towards.
Well, and I think too, don't be afraid to schedule those even it's just like, prayer time, sometimes life gets busy, and if you need to schedule time to just go sit by yourself and have prayer time or whatever it is. And I know some people, they will, like you said, you put it on the calendar, you guard that, and you don't have to tell anybody, because the thing is, if you tell people, I don't know, sometimes you feel like, well, I could do that another time. But
you just tell them I already have a commitment.
I have a commitment or I have an appointment. With yourself, with God.
Well, go ahead, sorry.
No, just I just wanted to emphasize that don't think that just because you could flex it or it's for
doesn't
me,
mean you should.
Doesn't mean you should,
or that you have to.
Again, that's how we don't get anywhere.
Yeah.
I do like the idea. I think like we should pick a date like several months in and have like a check-in.
I like it.
How's the
we
year
could do it
going?
like maybe the end of the first quarter. I like that. We'll do that. Unless we forget. We'll put it on our calendars. If we don't do it, then you guys can be like, hey, you guys are baloney. You didn't put it on your calendar because you didn't do it. I was thinking on that even, and this is probably a different conversation, but just tucking in the calendar side of things. Even, a couple years ago, um, more than a couple, it's been a minute, but even as a married woman, intimacy was something that often got shoved to the side.
Mm-hmm.
And I set a goal of 3 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally marked on my calendar. I had a little heart, like I had a little heart sticker. And anytime I put down a heart sticker. And so I could keep that like mental awareness because, especially as a woman, you got to kind of stay in the mode. And so it was like, if I didn't hit my goal for the week, it was okay, let's initiate something tonight. We're getting towards the end of the week. And that was something, and it worked. I mean, to the point where it's like, then it was like, okay, well, can we go for 4 days a week? And it gets to the point.
5.
Yeah, right. And it gets to this point where like, then it was like, eventually I stopped marking out on the calendar because it was just something that was normal and it was regular and it was part of my personal rhythm. So, and that's, I mean, and I say like, there's nothing too silly or too weird to put as something you schedule for yourself or the goal you set for yourself. It improved our marriage.
Your chin hairs.
Don't forget to clean up our beards, ladies. But yeah, I mean, there's no goal too silly or too ridiculous. If it's important to you and it works, like you get in that habit and it shifts and it's, everything is, it comes to self-care, you start to care more, like you take better care of yourself. And that spreads when you are, doing all the things, you're eating healthy or you're working out or you're, taking care of the stray hairs or all those things. It's like, then you start to take care of other things around you because it recognizes you have innate value.
Yeah.
And so don't hesitate. If it's something that's important to you, don't hesitate because it will improve your life.
Well, and I will say too, and I hadn't really kind of put the pieces together in my head until just now. But for me, I said for me this year is so different. Like my life got totally turned upside down and I don't know. I have this big blank page that's like, wow, I have this whole blank page. I can do whatever I want. But like I don't know what that looks like.
I don't know what I want yet.
I don't know what I want.
But I can do it.
And still working through grief and all that. But I think for me, there are some things, because I did go through some of those questions and, I mean, let me tell you, there's nothing that puts your life and your choices into better perspective than losing someone close to you. I think it immediately, life comes to a screeching halt and you realize all the things that didn't matter, weren't important, that you placed so much emphasis on, and the things that do matter. And so like I know like even though I feel immobilized to put them into action yet, I'm trying baby steps to put them into action, but I know there's things that I want different this year. And so I feel like this, on a good day, I need to sit down and start putting those things. That's where I need to start. Those things that I already know. I want to do this different this year. I want to live more intentional in this manner this year. And that's going to help me, I think, because I know I'm going to have a lot of days that I don't want to. And I can't see those goals in sight. So I think even on that level, if you're in a place for whatever reason that, maybe you just lost a job or, this
maybe your spouse left you.
Yeah.
Or they passed away.
Yeah. I mean,
either way, I guess either way. Notification popped up the screen. No idea if it kept recording or not. So if you saw us frozen, it's because there's a notification on my screen. If it froze, then you've done nothing epic. Well, I think.
Yeah. Anyway,
I think that.
Well, while you're retracing yours, what I was gonna say was that if nothing else, having it there, like having that to look at and say, okay, this is what you decided, and so then when I feel like I can, do this, whether it's be a letter to someone or whatever it is. Does that help you at all?
No, it's fine. Whatever it was, I had two things I really wanted to share. And I was trying desperately to hold on to both, and I only succeeded with one. So we'll go with one. And it kind of fits with what you're saying now. I was going to say the one thing to keep in mind too with having you schedule things out, you have your goals set, you got your calendar, and you kind of like have put in the priorities. You put in the things that are really important to you that you want to see happen. But at the same time, it's not a prison.
Right.
It's a framework. One thing I read a book and it like blew my mind as a new mother, and Bringing Up Baby. You come back to me. It is a book on an American woman who was in France raising her children, and she was just noticing how different they are with their kids. And at the time, I like thought all of it was mind-blowingly good. And then like, as the years have gone by, I'm like, okay, well, I'll cast that off. But one thing that's always stuck with me is they talked about parenting, that they have like they're very loose in their parenting, in a way, but it's like a framework. You build this really good framework of expectations and rules, and it just creates edges, and that is not a bad thing. It's not a prison. It's a framework, and within that framework, they can be whoever they want, and there's confidence in that. And like a kid, I don't know if that was that book or different. I think it was probably a different book. Made the example of there's 20 kids up on a mountaintop playing, and without a fence, they're staying close to the middle. They're huddled together. They're nervous. But when you put that fence around them, they can run and they can play tag, and they can, because they don't have that fear associated. They know where their boundaries are.
Right.
And so I think even as adults, we thrive when we know our boundaries. So when you have kind of this framework built for your life of what you want, the goals you have, the things you want to accomplish, the priorities, it's really about allowing you to live freely within that than it is about being a prison that you're locked into. So I think that if you find that if we view each fence post as a different goal or a different priority, and you find partway through the year that priority is just not anymore for whatever reason, or this goal, you're just recognizing, you know what, I thought I really wanted to do this, but it's just not working. You can replace that fence post with something else. It's not a prison you're not locked into. It's not hard. It's meant to allow you to have freedom that I know that I've got all my priorities scheduled. I've got things blocked off. So when someone comes and asks me to do something, I don't have to worry. Should I do that? I don't have to wait as much. Like my Fridays are open. This Friday I have nothing, and somebody invites me to go out for coffee or happy hour. I can be like, yeah, because I have nothing, and I know I'm not forgetting something. So don't feel like it's like a prison you're locked into.
For sure. Yeah. I think that crossed my mind earlier. I was thinking that, and we moved on. But yeah, for sure. And don't feel like, like I'm going into this year knowing I'm not trying to like go into it with a doom and gloom attitude, but I just recognize that grace for myself, like on my most optimistic day, I don't want to think that I'm going to have a really crappy day, but I'm going to have those days, and I'm going to have those days when, nothing on my calendar is going to get done. And so I think for anyone, don't treat, just because you have it on your calendar and if you have a bad week, whatever, don't feel like, oh, now I'm behind. Now I've got all this catching up to do. It's there to be a help to you, not to be a taskmaster. And
when it comes to your goals, I think you can kill the joy.
Yeah,
if you do that. Things like, and I've worked, it took me a lot of years to get to the place where my Bible reading, my time with the Lord is just, it is what it is. And so there are going to be days I read a ton of chapters. There are going to be days that are really deep times of just prayer and worship. And there are going to be days where I read a verse. And there are going to be days that I don't, that I get busy and I forget and I mess up my priorities. But all those years that I spent being like beating myself up, if I wasn't doing it every single day and I wasn't doing all these things and, whatever my goal was, I like to try to read the Bible in a year, but That's a chunk of reading. And so it's like, well, now I'm behind. I got to catch up, or I'm going to keep up with my church reading plan. I got to catch up.
Or just quit because
And
like
then-
I'm never going to get there. Yeah.
Exactly. And then
You're
you get to the point where you
discouraged.
just quit because you're discouraged. And I think the same goes with all other goals. It's like, it's meant to be a structure to help keep you on track, but it's shiftable. And so I don't let it be something that discourages you, because once you get discouraged and you feel behind, you're going to quit it every time. Nobody wants to live like that. So, and you know, I'm going to be like full transparency with this. Heading into the end of this year has been very hard. This being the last year that I shared with my dad, having ADD, there's a certain amount of out of sight, out of mind. So though I'm incredibly close with you, and I was incredibly close with my dad, I only missed you for about a couple weeks, if that. And then like you're gone, and it's like I love you, but like
Right.
it's like as soon as that cupboard door shuts,
You're
you
over
just
here.
don't see it.
You're over here living your
Yeah.
life, and I'm over here, and I know you're there.
Exactly. And like I miss you, but I don't miss you. It's not a grief thing. And I feel like my brain's kind of trying to do that right now, has been trying to do that with my dad. So
Because I'm not usually here.
you're not usually
Just
here.
over here.
And so there's part of that, like, you know, he'll just be there later type thing, you know? And it just, I'm not thought of it that way. I just feel like that's what my brain's doing. And it was like facing the new year. Well, he's not going to come for visits. It's going to be the first year he's not coming for a visit. There's going to be no more conversations, no more projects. And I'm just not been ready to face that. So I haven't done anything. This was all drawing from the well of what I normally do.
Mhm.
And that's okay too. I'm not going to make myself feel guilty that I haven't when I'm ready. And that might look like January. So all these goals and all these plans, I think, especially when you're talking about list making, it's really important that like top of the list is grace. Grace for yourself, grace for others, because your season doesn't look like my season, and my season this year doesn't look like my season last year, and it won't look like my season next year. So you
Well, and I think that's
do what you can where you're
that's
at.
same for me. You know, it's like I have been dreading this year coming to a close. I mean, it's like every week, every day, every chink, 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 chink. It's getting closer and closer. And
The countdown you don't want.
I've always loved, I think this is what's the challenge for me, is I have always loved, like, and I think I psyched myself out because I went early, extra early this year, and like, I'm going to be ready this year. And
On a good day, right?
yeah,
On a good day, I'm like,
right. And I'm like, I'm always ready for a fresh calendar, a fresh start, fresh ideas, a fresh approach. Like I'm always ready for a new year. And I think, you know, early on a good day, that's where I was at. And you know, the deeper I've gotten into this, the more I'm realizing, wait a minute, like
I'm not ready.
this December 31st is the close of a chapter, and I'm starting a new year without him. And so for me, I'm feeling a sense of dread and not ready. And you know, as we're talking, like she said, as we're talking about all this stuff, we're both wrestling with these things. And so I mean, I'm still in the phase. I haven't even written things down yet. I'm in the phase of I'm thinking about it. I have my list of questions. I have my list of things.
You're still mowing.
And I have them sitting out, and I'm thinking about them, and I'm thinking about things. So all that to say, just because your calendar page starts on January 1st, 2026, you don't have to have anything on that page yet. If it takes you till March or whenever to get to the place where you're ready to like put those thoughts into goals and steps, that's okay.
Yeah. I think that, you know, the idea behind intentional living is not that you're always doing. You can be intentional about not doing. In fact, it's good to be intentional about not doing and recognizing where you're at and for, probably, I mean, it's been a heavy month. Well, it's been a heavy 3 months, but especially this last week, I would say was a really hard week for me. And I've had to just kind of sit in that grief. And there's an intentionality to that too, recognizing that I need that. I need to just feel it. And when I feel like crying, allowing myself to cry, not trying to suck it up or keep it in. So intentional living is not intentional. Like, it's not always doing. Sometimes it's just thinking about what you're doing and just being thoughtful about it. I guess you're not, I'm really struggling getting the words out. It's not about always checking the things off the list. It's not about always progressing forward. Sometimes it's about just being still. It's just recognizing where you need to be and what you're supposed to be doing. Recognizing where the Lord has you, and there are going to be seasons where he has you. I mean, I think about the times, David got anointed as king, but then it was a long journey, and there were some really hard seasons. There was times he was just hiding out in a cave. Or the prophet, Elijah, who, like, I just went through all the prophets. Now there's like 900 prophet names in my head, but he prophesied against the king at the time, who was a very wicked king, who wanted his death. Or queen, it could have been Jezebel. I don't know. Anyway, he goes off into the woods by this brook. The Lord leads him there and is like, take a nap. You need a nap. And then like wakes him up, feeds him, and then go back to sleep. So there's going to be times when God has you just sitting and resting. And so that's what it's about. Whether we're heading to a new year or we're halfway through the year, it's just about being where you're supposed to be and being really thoughtful about that and not allowing yourself to just coast through life.
Right.
Making the most of the time.
I agree.
So we took it from here. I'm about to wait out. I'm gonna try to bring it back up before we call it a day. Whoa, this is a long one. So we'd love to know where you guys are at. Like, how's it going? How are you feeling about this year? What are you excited for this next year? How are your holidays? Share all the deets. We're looking forward to continuing to grow this channel and get to the point where we can go live with you guys. Because it's so much more fun when we get to talk to you guys live. But we do love the comments afterwards. So leave them if you like our chats. First of all, join us again next Saturday. Second of all, like and subscribe would be lovely. Share with your friends if you have someone you think would love it. And I hope you guys have a really good week and a great New Year's. Bye, friends.